So you're thinking about selling your lawn or landscape related business in the near future. My name is Jim Parker. I've been helping people sell businesses for nearly 25 years, and I specialize in lawn related businesses. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about the 16 most common mistakes that I see business owners make when they're trying to sell the business. So I've seen a lot of things over my 25 years. These are the 16 most common things I see. Whether you hire myself or you hire another experienced business intermediary, these are the things I want to make sure that you're aware of. All right, so number one, having weak financials and having missing supporting documentation. When a buyer comes and they buy your business, they're going to have the opportunity to do their due diligence on the business, and you want to be able to make sure that you're providing them all the documentation that they need in order to do that due diligence to verify that you're making the kind of money that you're making. So, make sure you hold on to bank statements and merchant service statements. You have your tax returns, you have profit and loss and balance sheets on a monthly basis. You have invoices, anything to do with financials, just start holding on to them, file them, keep everything organized. All right, number two, staying on the financial front. You're going to hate this one, but stop running any personal expenses through the business if you're running them through the business. Stop it. Stop it. You are not going to get credit for a lot of those personal expenses you're running through the business. And even cash, if you're taking cash and you're not reporting it, start reporting it. Number one, that's what you should be doing anyways, whether you're selling or not selling. And I'm not here judging anything. Again, I've seen a lot in my career. I'm not judging. I know the real world. I know what's happening out there. I'm on your side. I'm here to guide you. I'm just telling you, you're gonna get ready to sell your business in the near future. Stop running the personal expenses through the business and keep them separate, and just keep business expenses there. You want your business to look as profitable as it possibly can. Buyers are not going to want to see a lot of personal expenses, and lenders and the financial backers are not going to want to see a lot of that. I did a whole video on that. You can go back and watch that. All right, number three, misclassifying your employees. So again, this might be something you don't want to hear, but if you've got 1099s people, labor force, and they really should be a W-2, you should switch them over to a W-2 as soon as possible. Don't say, oh, well, the new buyer can do that if they want to. Most buyers are going to look at it and go, no, legally, they're supposed to be W-2. And if I buy the business and then I reclassify them, how much of the labor force am I going to lose because they're not going to want to be switched? You need to make that as the current owner. And they're also going to be looking at it and going, yeah, the profitability of the business will go down because obviously they're going to be paying more in taxes or employee taxes. So, number four, outdated contracts. If you have contracts with your clients, ongoing contracts with your clients, make sure your contracts are up to date. Make sure that they're renewed. Make sure that the right pricing's in there. Everything's up. If you are dealing with a lot of contracts, talk to your business intermediary about that. And you may want to circle back around to your attorney. Sometimes business owners have not taken their contracts back to their attorney in years and years and years. It'd be good for your attorney to review it again. And we got to look at things like assignability and all that. So that's something we can talk about. Number five, ignoring seasonality in the financials. So if you're dealing with, in cold weather, if you're in a cold weathered state, and your financials really dip in the wintertime, try to pick up other services that you can provide your clients, like snow removal or whatever else it might be. The better that your financials look strong all year round, the more the buyers are going to like that. They don't want to look at it, just go, it's really strong in 8 or 9 months. So that's a whole different issue, because I know in a lot of the warmer states, they have the opposite problem where they're, doing a lot of work in the summer months, but they tend to be more profitable in the winter months. But, that's seasonality, something that we can talk about if you want to give me a call. All right, number six, improper pricing. If you could be in a situation where you're underpricing your clients, you should bring that up to par before you go to sell your business. Buyers do not want to hear, well, I haven't increased my prices in 3 years. You could increase the prices when you buy the business. They're going to look at it and go, why haven't you increased your prices? Are you afraid of losing your clientele? Da, 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 da. I'm going to tell you, I feel like since COVID hit, there has been a lot of lawn and landscape owners that have been fearful of putting their prices up to where they should be in the current market. Obviously, labor has increased, gasoline has increased, costs in general have increased. And, for the most part, I'm not giving you this advice, but from what I've seen, most lawn related business owners that have increased their prices to a reasonable level did not see a huge drop off in clientele, and they were very happy that they did that. But look at your pricing, make sure it's priced right. All right, and number 7, neglecting the business during the sales process. I see this from time to time, and actually, I'm going to tell you time to time. So let me give you this national statistic. Only 10 to 20% of the businesses for sale will sell. That's a national average. So that means 80 to 90% of the businesses in the market do not sell. I sell about 90% of the businesses I take to the market, me and my team. So we have a 9 times success rate. It happens to me about once a year, and this makes up that 10% that I do not sell. I have a business owner that mentally checks out when they list the business with me. And I tell all the business owners, okay, this is the situation. We're going to the market. Your job is to run your business, keep the numbers up, keep your business successful, keep the numbers the same or get them higher. My job is to sell your business. I will need your help, but I need you to mainly concentrate on the business. And sometimes, like I said, it happens to like once a year on average. A business, even if I tell them, business owner just mentally checks out. I've got my business for sale. They take their eye off the ball. Their numbers start to decline. It puts us in a situation where it makes the business unsellable because all of a sudden there's a big decline in everything. So, eye on the ball. All right, where are we at? Number 8, unresolved issues. If you're dealing with, legal issues or worker comp issues or taxes or bills or anything like that, get them all resolved before you take the business to the market. If it's a type of a situation that cannot be resolved, and this is something that you should talk to me about, you know, might be just something that we have to handle. The biggest advice I can give you is whether you're talking to me or you're talking to another business intermediary, make sure you tell or you disclose all the skeletons in the closet. If you have a good business intermediary, that's what they want to know. They want to know all that up front. They want to know what obstacles they're looking at and how to overcome those obstacles. The worst case scenario is us to go down the process, get multiple buyers interested, get multiple bids on your business, and we go under contract with a buyer, and the buyer finds that out on their own. When that happens, they are not going to trust you, and they're not going to like you, and they're going to walk away from the deal. I can't stress how important it is that a buyer trusts the business owner. So any skeletons you have in the closet, any negatives about your business, make sure you talk to your business intermediary about that. All right, number 9, overlooking customer employee transition plans. Big thing a buyer's going to be looking at or want to know is what's it going to look like when I acquire the business? How are we going to, what is going to be told to the employees? How are we going to handle that with the employees? How are we going to handle that with the customers? So that's a conversation that you and I should have prior we go to the market. We can kind of talk about that. It's really not that big of an issue, but we should have a plan in place to make the buyer feel comfortable. There's going to be a good transition between you and them. All right. Number 10, ignoring tax implications that happen from the sale of the business. So, typically what's going to happen when you engage a business intermediary, one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to give you a broker's opinion of value. They're going to tell you what the most probable selling price of your business is. By the way, I do not charge for that. There's no obligation to use my services. If I give you a broker's opinion of value, if you decide you don't want to go with me, that's fine. I don't want to force anybody to work with me. It's free to you. But when I give you that broker's opinion of value and I tell you what the most probable selling price of your business is, don't look at it and go, okay, that's how much money I'm going to get at the closing table, which, you're going to have other expenses deducted. But another thing you have to worry about is what's your tax implication going to be to Uncle Sam, because Uncle Sam's going to have his hand out and be like, hey, I want to get some money too. So it's really important that you find out approximately what kind of taxes you're going to be paying off that amount, because at the end of the day, I want you to be happy. I don't want you to be like, oh, I forgot about the taxes, 2 weeks before closing. I want you to already have that be mentally prepared for that and know what you're going to be facing. Now, you might be dealing with a CPA that you've been dealing with for a long time. They may be a fantastic CPA. You may want to talk to me and put you in contact, or put your CPA in contact with some of the contacts that I have of CPAs and attorneys that specialize in tax consequences when you go to sell your business, because that's what these people do day in and day out. They may be able to help and guide your CPA to make sure that you pay as little taxes as you possibly have to on that sale legally. All right. Where are we sitting at right now? Number 11, failing to maintain the equipment. You got to have good equipment. Your equipment's got to be in good shape and got to be in good condition. A couple things are going to happen if your equipment's not in good shape. Number one, they're going to look at it and go, equipment's not in good shape. And, maybe that business owner let the equipment go and get that bad because they knew they were going to sell the business. And they're going to look at that and go, what else did he kind of let go? And, it's just not going to be a good sign. They want to look at you and think that they like you and trust you. And, you're trying to do good by the new buyer. And number two, they're going to be looking at it and going, okay, equipment's not in good shape. Is that how they run the business? If the biggest assets in their business, which are the equipment, is not in good working condition and they don't take care of it, what else are they not taking care of? Maybe it's not because of the, necessarily they have it for sale, but that's just how they've been running their business for a long time. What kind of things am I going to be walking into that I am not going to be able to see, but they're neglecting because they're neglecting their equipment? So you just want to make sure that your equipment's in good shape. Number 12, neglecting customer contracts. Make sure the contracts that you have with your customers are up to date, prices are right. If things have expired, make sure you got those in place. We could go on and on about the contracts, but if you're dealing with contracts, that's a conversation you should have with your business intermediary. It's something else you might want to circle back around with your attorney. It might have been, years and years and years since your attorney looked at those contracts. You might want to have them look at those. And we have to look at things like assignability issues with the buyer and da-da-da-da. But those are conversations we can have offline. Number 13, overlooking licensing issues and what kind of plan will be in place for the new buyer. If you think, okay, the new buyer is going to have the same, if you're dealing with a lawn-related business that requires special licensing, it's very dangerous to say, well, I only wanted to sell it to somebody that has that special license in this particular state, because now you're narrowing down your buyer pool a lot. So you want to keep that buyer pool as big as you possibly can. And there might be a lot of qualified buyers out there that can get your business and would do great operating your business, but they may not have the license currently, or they may not have the license in your particular state. So you want to put yourself in a position where there's multiple ways that that buyer would be able to operate that business. Number one, you as the business owner, as the seller, you might be able to qualify that business for a while. And letting you know right now, lenders are not, if it's an SBA loan, are not allowed to have the seller qualify the business for more than 12 months. But that's one avenue. Could look at it as, do you have anybody else that that's a friend or something like that in the space that wouldn't mind qualifying the buyer until they could get their licensing? Or do you have employees that currently have the license or meet all the requirements other than just sitting for the test? These would be all good avenues that you could give a buyer. You could talk to a buyer, and that there's multiple ways that they can handle those licensing issues. All right. And number 14, breaking confidentiality about the sale of the business. And I can't stress how important. Most business owners understand this. You don't want anybody to know that your business is for sale. You don't want your competitors to know. You don't want your clients and customers to know. You don't want your suppliers and vendors to know. You don't want your employees to know. You don't want anybody to know that your business is for sale. That's a video on its own. I can explain why that is, but it could affect your business. There's a lot of uncertainty there. And you just want to keep the wholesale process confidential. What our objective is, we take it to the market. We don't want anybody to know the business is for sale until we get to the closing table. We've sold the business and you got your money. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never had a break in confidentiality because of our team, knock on wood. The most recent one was a couple years ago. I had and it wasn't our fault. The business owner was at a wedding, at a family wedding, came across a relative, I think it was his cousin, and he was talking to his cousin. He's like, yeah, I finally engaged a business broker. We're getting a lot of interest in my business. I'm going to be selling it. I'm going to be retiring. And he was just really excited. Well, we ended up getting the business under contract. And about a month after we were under contract, that cousin called up the business and said to the lady that answered the phone, I don't know if my cousin sold the business yet, but I need your guys' services. So me and my team can do everything we possibly can to keep the sale of the business confidential, but it's really critical that you keep the sale of the business confidential as well. You should not tell anybody except for you and your spouse that you're thinking about selling the business. I can't stress that enough. All right, number 15, choosing the wrong buyer to buy your business. This is really important. You got to choose the correct buyer, multiple reasons. Number one, hopefully a lot of my deals that I do, we get multiple buyers putting in offers in on the business. And it's not a matter of just right off the gate saying, okay, let's go with this price and let's go with these terms. We got to look at the whole ball of wax, and we do have negotiation room that we can go back and get this offer and go back and negotiate with this buyer because we like this buyer better. But, we got to be looking at is what buyer are we going to be able to get to the closing table? Which buyer is most likely, if we're dealing with a situation where all the buyers are going to be looking at loans, in that, $1 million to $3 million enterprise value, chances are every buyer is going to be wanting to get an SBA loan. So we want to be in a situation, who's the strongest candidates, or what are the strongest candidates that are going to qualify for an SBA loan? Also, how difficult will it be for us to get that buyer to the closing table? There's a lot of things that we need to do. It's usually about a 90-day closing process. And we just want to be able to pick the best buyer that we're going to be able to get across to the finish line. Number two, for a lot of you guys out there, what's really important, and I hear it all the time, is you own the business for a really long time. And it's very important you take care of your employees, that your employees are taken care of, that your customers are taken care of, even suppliers and vendors are taken care of. And you just want to make sure you pick the right buyer that's going to run the business in the same kind of manner, not exactly like you, but has the same mentality as you do, that takes care of people, and that your employees and your customers and your vendors are going to be in good hands post-closing. And, I keep going on, but one last thought I want to give you with that is that, I want the business owners that I work with when I'm selling their business to be concerned about the buyer post-closing too, and want the buyer to be successful. It's not just, you getting your money and running off into the sunset, but that the right buyer's buying the business and they're going to be successful post-closing. That's the best transaction to happen. I want to maximize your sales price. I want you to get the best terms you possibly can. But at the end of the day, I want you and me both to make sure, or not make sure, but want that buyer to be successful post-closing. And a large part of that is, do they have the capability to do that? All right, number 16. Here we are, the last one. Lacking a clear sales process when you're selling your business. I am not just saying this because I'm a business intermediary. Whether you use me or you use somebody else, make sure that you find a very knowledgeable, very experienced business intermediary that specializes in the lawn-related business, that's going to give you good guidance, that's honest, that's ethical, that's going to do you well. This is probably the biggest financial transaction of your lifetime. And you want to make sure that you've got somebody really solid that really knows what they're doing. A bad business broker is going to get you bad results. A great business broker is going to get you great results. They're going to maximize your sales price. They're going to maximize or give you the best terms possible. It's night and day. So just make sure you get the right person to help you, guide you through the process. And please do not try to do it on your own. The money you're going to save in fees, and I don't charge any upfront fees. I only get paid when I actually sell your business. But any fees that you do pay is going to be nothing compared to the amount of work that person's going to do for you, and the difference that they're going to get for you in sales price is going to be huge. So anyways, I really appreciate you watching the video today. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much.